Hello, welcome to another home exercise video tutorial. Today we're going to look at seated cool down stretching. So basically after you've done whatever it may be, your marching, your resistance band work, your dumbbell work, any body weight exercise, whatever it may be, you want to come down into a cool down stretch. So for the seated video here, I will show you pretty much a full body stretch. So once again, just because we're cooling down doesn't mean we want to slump into the chair. So sitting on the front third of the chair here, and we're still growing tall with posture, so our chest is nice and proud. You can imagine that you're balancing a full pint glass of water on your chest here, so you don't want to spill the water forward and you don't want to spill the water back over yourself. That's quite a nice image to use when it comes to posture. So first of all, one of the most basic stretches is just by bringing the knee up. We don't want to bring the knee up so far that we compromise form. And by bringing the heel in just a little bit, you'll get a little bit of a stretch in the upper thigh here. And the main thing is just to be aware of not leaning back. With all these stretches, I would recommend between 15 to 30 seconds hold at mild tension, breathing throughout, so don't hold your breath, on your left and your right hand side, of course. So this is more of an upper thigh stretch here. Fantastic. So we've done front of the thigh. Let's think about back of the thigh. So the main thing here is 1 foot forward. You can have your foot flat on the floor. You can get the legs straight, but don't completely lock out at your knee joint. Looking forward, eyes on the horizon, and then, my good friend, hinging at the hip. So we're not moving at the spine, we're just coming forward at the hips, keeping the leg nice and static, and you'll get to a point where you feel mild tension in the back of your thigh, and that's where you're stretching off your hamstring muscles there. If you want to get the calf muscle involved, then what you can do is bring the toe up. This will be a little bit more intense. Notice how, even though I've done these stretches a lot of times being an exercise referral instructor, I'm still moving into them very slowly because I could be a little bit more tighter from day to day. So you never want to rush into these stretches. You want to see how your body feels. If I'm holding a stretch for 30 seconds and then 15 seconds in, it goes from medium tension to high tension, just ease back a little bit. And as I've said in some other videos, make sure that you don't pulse. This seems to be a common thing. If you pulse, it may be that if you pulse too far, you actually go beyond your own point of mild tension and flirt with a muscle pull, which is what nobody wants. Once again, that would be both sides there for the back of the thigh stretch. This can be awkward, the next one for hips and bums, so I'm going to show you a couple of stretches. It may be something as simple as just crossing the legs here, and the idea is the more the knee comes to the opposite side, you should never force with hands. Hands are light guides and nothing more. So the movement, you don't want to actually move and force your legs across. You start with the legs, and then an ever so light guide with the hands. So don't actually force your legs or force your limbs, whatever you're stretching, with your hands. And this will stretch, I'll show you from this side, it'd be better for the camera. This is now stretching the hip, the outside of the thigh here. You can also, depending on flexibility of course, this is a generalised video, so as long as you've been clear for these stretches, ever so lightly, don't press down, move the knee down, and then you just some light assistance with the hands there if you want to. If any of these challenge balance, of course, you can use balance from the chair. It may be that you have a chair with arms on as well. Fantastic. Inside of the legs, so we're going back to the other opposite side of the leg here. This one's nice and simple, so we're just ever so lightly pressing out on the legs. It can be quite a flexible area in this position, so just to mild tension here. Keep Breathing throughout. 15 to 30 seconds hold, as we said before. So we've already looked at a lot of different areas there. We've looked at how we can get calf, back of the thigh, front of the thigh, inside and outside of the leg, all from a seated position there, which is fantastic. So let's think a little bit about the torso now. So we can do, once again, you may want to use your chair on this one just for a little bit of balance support or assistance. So we've got a side bend here, nice and slow, and this is stretching out, so I'll come to the other side. This is stretching out the side of your torso. Make sure that you don't push your ribs forward on this one. All the same stretching principles with time, and each side applies to all of these stretches throughout. Other stretches that we've got, if you will go into upper body now, so probably the easiest one for back is, I'm going to actually show you side on now, is pressing forward. And with this one you will get, this is kind of the exception to the rule, you don't want to falsify it, but you will get a little bit of outward curvature in the upper spine, and as long as it's controlled, it's not falsified, this is great. If you want to lace your fingers together, then you can stretch the forearms out as well. If that's too intense, then just don't lace your fingers, that's absolutely fine. Notice how I'm not locked out at the elbow, so I'm not completely locking out my joints, putting unnecessary pressure into my joints. So to stretch your chest here, we want to open up this clavicle region as if the clavicle was a wingspan, and we're opening up that wingspan. So you can put a hand, each hand on the back of the chest, and then open up there, as long as you're not thrusting your ribs forward. This is a really nice one using the chair. So we're opening up that whole chest area here. Breathing throughout. It's a really nice one. I could hold that one all day. That feels fantastic. Anyway, before I get too excited about the chest stretch, let's think about shoulders now. So probably one of the easiest ones for shoulders. Some people struggle with this, so I'll show you different ones. Probably the best way to get into this is bringing your arm across your body, and then you can ever so lightly guide it a little bit further. It might be that we do this with a bend in the elbow, it might be that we come a little bit lower here, all depending on our own personal range of motion. What you don't want to happen is your shoulder to come up and attack your face. There's going to be these postural imbalances, which are not good when it comes to stretching. So as you can see, this is stretching out the upper back part of the shoulders, the medial part of the shoulder around here. If you was doing your side arm raises in your workout, that's when your shoulder's nice and tight and shortened. So this is the opposite of that movement. Stretching is pretty much, stretching a muscle is the opposite of when you're working that muscle and it's getting shorter. So for example, shoulder, side arm shoulder raises here. If I'm working my chest muscle is getting shorter here. So what else shall we have a look at stretching out there? If you want to, you can do another upper back stretch, smaller muscles around the shoulder blade called the rotator cuff muscles. You may have heard of these. So with this one, it's very similar to the chest stretch, but there is a little bit different. So you can get your hands either on your side or on the side of the chair, or if you've got the range of motion, just on the lower back there. And it's just bringing the elbows forward. You don't want to roll the shoulders forward any more than they naturally do. So you don't want to falsify it, but it's just bringing the elbows forward there. And it's quite a potent stretch, this one, or at least it is on me. We can all be different, so just be very cautious, moving very slow into this one. It only needs to be mild tension, nothing more. Other areas to stretch out which can be really, really useful as well. A lot of people forget about the neck. Don't press really hard on your head, that's going to be a mistake. But basically any way that your neck moves, so if we come to the side here, and it might be that we ever so lightly guide our neck with our fingers, but whatever you do, don't put loads of tension in your neck and press through your head, because that's a common one, and that's a big mistake. The neck is a very vulnerable area. And then of course, same again on the other side. Last stretch I'll give you, if you've got the range of motion, you've been cleared to bring your arms over your head. A nice full trunk stretch here is bringing the arms above the head. Just don't lose your stomach muscles again. I'm not saying they have to be outrageously contracted, but you just want to stretch straight up. It's all about that full pint glass of water on the sternum, on the chest there. So when I'm stretching here, my imaginary pint glass is well balanced. I'm getting a nice stretch in the abdominals here as well, if I really bring my body up. But what I'm not doing is spinning that pint glass over me or spinning it over the floor. And I think we will finish the stretching there. Fantastic, well done guys. Great video, I hope.